Welcome to Macro Bites with EY-Parthenon Chief Economist Greg Daco. In this episode, Greg is joined by Will Auchincloss, EY-Parthenon America's retail leader.
We're going to be discussing the state of the economy and its impact on the retail sector. So let's dive into key trends and strategies shaping the future of retail. Will, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Greg. Very excited to be here.
We have a lot to discuss.
We do.
The economy is under a tremendous degree of pressure. We're seeing an increase in tariffs across the board. We're seeing a slowdown in labor market momentum. We're seeing income growth also slow. And unfortunately, we're also seeing inflation reaccelerate. And that's affecting a broad range of industries across the U.S. economy. But disproportionately, I would argue, it's affecting the retail sector. So how are retailers absorbing all of these shocks?
Yeah, Greg, I think you're spot on. We feel like we're at the front line of all this because for really two big reasons. One is obviously retailers interact with hundreds of millions of consumers every day in this country, and that's what drives their business. The consumer's under a lot of pressure. And I think the second thing is we obviously import trillions of dollars a year of goods from abroad, and those are being tariffed at newer and higher rates all the time. And so retailers have really had to deal with that. Where we're getting really more focused on not is such a rapid response, but how do we kind of set plans for the medium term to kind of navigate this in terms of setting pricing actions, driving more productivity through our workforce, and working with suppliers in new and different ways from around the world.
So moving a little bit away from the fire drill, more towards a strategy where you have a tactic to approach all of these different shocks for the long term.
That's right.
One of the things that has surprised me is essentially the resilience of U.S. consumers in the face of a number of headwinds over the past few years. But we are starting to see in some of the survey data that consumer morale is inching slightly lower. We're seeing consumers being more cautious about the outlook. They are more concerned about labor prospects. They are more concerned about the financial well-being of their families. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you're seeing that affect retailers?
Yeah, Greg, we see the same thing in our data. Consumers are very concerned. I think about 2/3 of them in this last survey expect a recession in the next 12 to 18 months. Now, they're not macroeconomists, so hopefully that doesn't come true, but they're definitely feeling it, basically trying to muscle through this. They're trying to buy the same basket of goods roughly, but they're facing these headwinds. I think you see this in your data too, trying to borrow through this. So retailers, I don't think have fully digested that part yet, but it's something we're really talking to them about to get prepared for, because as you know, this is not sustainable and can't last forever.
I actually fully agree with this view of pushing through, because if you look at retail sales over the course of the past 5 years since 2019, you essentially have an environment where about 2/3 of the increase in retail sales has come from pricing, and only 1/3 has come from volume. So that is potentially signaling a limit as to how much more pricing can pass through.
Yeah, and consumers, I don't think, are able to sustain this. And I think retailers, particularly in the restaurant sector and maybe in some of the apparel sectors in particular, are sort of seeing that traffic slow down. And I think it remains to be seen if they can turn that around.
Yeah, because I think some of these headwinds are not necessarily going to dissipate overnight. And we've seen the labor market, which is the key pillar to consumer spending activity, show some signs of softening. We have slower job growth. We have 1/3 of CEOs announcing job cuts likely over the course of the next year. The combination of slower labor market momentum, slower income growth, along with higher price inflation is a real risk and a difficulty for forecasters that are trying to anticipate what the consumer will do next. How do you see the retail sector forecasting or anticipating these shifts?
So it's been really tough for them to kind of figure it out. And it's leading them to be, I think, overall a little bit less bold in terms of what their business strategies are, with a few major exceptions out there that we've seen with sort of bigger transactions.
Let's stay on the strategy front. There is both a commercial strategy and then an operational strategy. How are we advising our clients to navigate both of these sets of strategies?
Yeah, the commercial front is really shifted to the front and center of the conversation. It's all front of the store now, if you will. And so we tell clients to really focus on trying to drive loyalty with their consumers as best they can and try and support them through this time with additional personalization offers, do a value-added strategy through digital media to try and help them through this.
Where does technology fit into all of this?
I think retail as a sector is really well positioned to take advantage of AI, right? We have millions of square feet to manage and connect to. We have hundreds of millions of consumers and data points flowing through, millions of transactions every day. We are trying to work with them to help figure out how to drive more competitive advantage, focus on bigger things than just maybe front-end personalization or back office automation, and really get into things like how do you re-envision your merchandising processes, how do you do your supply chain processes, which is kind of the core of their business more, to really take advantage of this, drive top line growth and more productivity.
And this is not just about the next couple of weeks or the next month. It's really about the next year. And in between now and 12 months from now, we have the all-important holiday season. How do you see retailers navigating the holiday season this year?
They were in a tough spot because they had to buy earlier in the year to get ready for holiday season. This holiday season might be a little softer than last year. I don't know how far yet because it's so much uncertainty, but I would be a little less bullish than we were last year.
So if I were to put you on the spot and advise me as an imaginary CEO of a big retail firm, what would be your 3 advice to navigate the next few months?
One is driving the commercial front end and make it really optimized for this environment. That's maximizing your assortment, maximizing your loyalty with your consumers, and really getting the pricing right. I think 2 is productivity is very top of mind for them still. That's going to be driven in the headquarters functions as well as in the store functions, depending on how the stores are performing. And then I think your favorite topic earlier, AI, is front and center for all of them. I think they're wrestling with how to adopt it. So they're trying to figure out how to embed those models into their operations, and that's a big journey for them. But I think it's going to offer a lot of productivity gains for them.
I love it. Thank you for those insights, Will.
Thanks, Greg, for having me.
Thank you for joining this latest episode of Macro Bytes.